It's dark. It's scary. I don't know what's going on. All I know is it's October, which means I have to play scary games. If I don't, something's going to come and get me. That scares me more than the games do. And here we are. It's Halloween Havoc 2021, and to kick things off, I thought I'd go with a game which actually I really enjoy and is a bit spooky and scary. It's from THQ back in the day, and it's Scooby Doo and the Night of 100 Frights. This was the first of the Scooby Doo games to hit the PlayStation 2, GameCube, Xbox generation. It was done by Heavy Iron Studios, as you can see there, and it was produced on what will become ubiquitous in that generation, renderware. So many games have this renderware look, but it does work. Now, Scooby Doo and the Night of 100 Frights. This was I don't know how to describe it really. It's not really a 3D platformer in the vein of, say, Super Mario 64 or anything like that, but it's not really a 2.5D title either. It's somewhere in between. Most of the gameplay is done in a 2.5D style, but there are sections that are more Super Mario 64-esque. It's an interesting attempt at the genre. I mean, the previous Scooby-Doo games for the PlayStation on the PS1 was Scooby-Doo and the Cyber Chase, which was very, very much a Crash Bandicoot knockoff. But, this was an attempt to do something a bit more complex than that, and it largely works. As you can see there, we've had a pretty good reproduction of the 1969 animated series introduction sequence. Shows off the 3D models quite well, brings us to the title screen and into the actual game itself, which does of course come with an introduction, because it's Scooby-Doo. Why wouldn't it? Loading times aren't too bad on this, to be fair. Now, I'm playing the GameCube version here, so it's the version of it I'm most familiar with because it's the version I got first. Now, this is a fully voiced intro, which I'm not playing because I don't want to get hit with a copyright strike, because it's the proper Scooby-Doo voice cast of the time, so everything sounds authentic as well as looking quite authentic. As I said, the gameplay is a mix of sort of open world 3D and 2.5D style platforming, which we'll get to in a minute once we get past this intro sequence. Now, this was actually a really popular game at the time, even though you don't really see it mentioned now. It made it onto Sony's Greatest Hits label in the US, which means that after 12 months on the market, it had sold at least 400,000 copies in the US alone, which is pretty impressive for a game which, even though the Scooby-Doo franchise continues to this day, is really based on a, at the time, sort of 40-year-old cartoon series. Everything about it aped the 1960s cartoon, and here we are. This is one of the more open-worldy bits. You don't have any control over the camera. It swings round to suit what you're doing at the time. And here I am. I'm having to collect Scooby snacks. Why? Because you'll need Scooby snacks to open up certain areas, and certain other areas of the map require keys. But obviously, without the Scooby snacks, you're going nowhere at the minute because everywhere's locked off by keys. How are you going to get a key? Well, simple. We collect up all these Scooby snacks, walk into the little clue icon, it gives you a hint as to what's going on. Oh, where am I going to get the key from? There's one there, but nah. That's out of my reach. So anyway, we're looking for all the Scooby snacks. We want to gather up as many as we can, because each time you unlock something with the Scooby snacks, it costs you more Scooby snacks. Now this is the main hub area, if you like, the hub world. It's only small, but it suits, and it has that Scooby-Doo look. Even in 3D, the backgrounds, everything looks like a Scooby-Doo cartoon should. And we're going to go into one of the first sort of proper platforming areas here, which is quite an enjoyable area to go into. Now, when this game came out, I don't actually recall seeing much publicity or hype for it, although I do obviously know it existed, because obviously I bought it, but the first time I was actually aware of it was when I saw it in a game shop, which I think would have been CEX in Manchester at the time, possibly, I think, or it could have been Game at the Trafford Centre, who knows. Now, this game has a lot of very authentic Scooby Doo feeling moments to it. You know, it's Scooby Doo. What can you say? It does play quite well. To be honest, I think it actually plays better once you get past this initial section. You can get hold of certain bits and pieces to allow you to access some of the other areas. You go on Metacritic, you'll find that this game has got distinctly average scores because, yeah, it's a distinctly average game. But it's still fun. If you like Scooby Doo, you're going to love it. And if you like spooky games, there's plenty here for you. There's a lot going on. It looks the part, it sounds the part. It actually plays pretty good. For me, it's a 7 out of 10. It's not the best, but it's far from the worst attempt at a game like this. I mean, you know, we're not in Gingerbread Man or Anubis 2 territory here. This is a game which plays reasonably well. Like I said, it sold over 400,000 copies, so it must have been doing something right. Anyway, that's enough for this today. I'm Leonard Rob. This is my wonderful trip into Halloween Havoc 2021. And whilst this game isn't scary, it's certainly spooky, or even spoopy, if you want to use that term. And I do recommend getting it. It's relatively cheap on pre-owned game sites, or you can play it under emulation, as I've done here. But I couldn't possibly tell you where you could get anything to do with that. Anyway, this is Leonard Rob saying, if you like this video, please hit the thumbs up, like and subscribe. If not, hit the thumbs down. Tell me why you didn't like it. Yeah. I'll see you on the next one.